Hello, good evening. How are we doing? I've got something interesting to share this evening, which I hope you're all going to enjoy. And I want to talk to you about amateur sport racing. You might know me sort of best as just in the accountant maybe, or just in the entrepreneur, or maybe the property guy, or maybe just in the author. I've penned 2 books, but there's something about me that I do in my spare time that some people will know this about me, but I'm really enthusiastic about racing, sport racing, in particular multi-sport events. And this evening I want to tell you a little bit about kind of my journey that I've been through, all the different types of sports that I've tried, and all of the things that you can try as well. And I want to kind of give you ideas about how you can get yourself fit. And I want to show you about my obsession this evening. So hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to try and turn the camera around. So if I try and avoid my messy office, but if I turn the camera around, I've actually laid out all of my various medals that I've got. And the wonderful thing is that amateur sport racing is someone gives you a medal just for finishing. I mean, how good is that? And I've pulled out a few little things, little trinkets that I've picked up along my way doing amateur sport racing that I thought might be quite cool to show you this evening. And here's one, a bottle of beer that you get at the end of the Bladen race. I mean, how cool is that? That was just the other day. We know the song, don't we? I've got this beautiful piece of glass from the Sunderland Glass Centre. I've actually got six of these because I really enjoy that particular race. But isn't that a beautiful thing to get? I have picked out a few medals that I've got along the way that are particular favourites of mine. That, look at this beautiful one here. This is the Conway Half Marathon with the castle in the background. I set a PB for a half marathon on that particular course. This medal, not particularly exciting medal, but it's the first time I ever swam an open water mile, which was just a huge achievement for me to do that. This one has a special place in my heart. Another beautiful medal, isn't it? I took part as they have a big race, part of the International World Triathlon Series, and I got to go out on the same course that the pros did later in the day. I got to see, Mario Mola, Johnny Brownlee, or all of the big names at the start line, which was pretty cool. I like this one, a little local race. I did incredibly well on that one. I think I finished in the top 10, which was just a fantastic achievement. And then this is the one I'm most proud of, is I went all the way to Canada and I finished on the podium. In my age category, I might add, but that was for an aquathon race. Even though it says triathlon, the Toronto Island was flooded, so they had to cut it down to an aquathon. But that's pretty cool. How the hell did all of this start, you might be saying? Well, I suppose it all started probably when my youngest son was shortly after he'd been born. I wasn't terribly fit. And I was thinking, to bring up 2 lads, I'm going to have to get myself fit, basically. So I started out kind of doing Parkrun. I'll come back to Parkrun in a bit. And I could get around the Parkrun course, which is 5 kilometres, and it took me about half an hour to get round. And then I just started going every single week, and I started getting better. Isn't this a wonderful thing? And I think it's about consistency. And it was about a year into this sort of getting fit, getting run fit, that I thought, I wonder whether I could do a triathlon. And much to my wife's horror, as I entered an open water triathlon. So the first she knew about was when I was going and buying my wetsuit to go and do this open water triathlon. I did it and I absolutely loved it, and it just started something. And I've just now built sport and training into my life, that I'm doing it all of the time. Last weekend I've just done a 40-kilometre swim run event. I posted some bits and bobs in the group about that. That was about 35 kilometres of running over some quite serious terrain, I might add. We went up to Loughrig Fell in the Lake District, if you know that. And in between all of these runs that I did, there were 7 swims totaling just over 5 kilometres. I didn't just wake up one day and was able to do that. It's been a long time coming. I've had to build up really, really slowly. But one of the great things of being fit is that one of my mates says to me, Justin, do you fancy going paddleboarding today? Or do you fancy going out for a run? What about a fell run? You know, in the last 30 days, being fit has allowed me to do that 40-kilometre swim run adventure. I've done a 10-mile fell run. I've paddleboarded across Buttermere. I've been up Helvellyn on a walk. I did a duathlon, which was a last-minute cancellation that someone had. I've been out on an e-bike and cycled across some amazing territory over in the Lake District. I've been to the gym. I've swam with my pals in the Tyne, which might not be which is the river up here, but it's just been it's great to be fit because you can just do anything, and I can keep up with my 2 boys as well. I think kind of where you should be maybe thinking about things, I suppose, is thinking about maybe getting fit as a social outlet, and that's what it's really become for me. Is I'm heavily involved in my triathlon club. I'm the club chairman, actually, but it's probably 80% of my social life revolves around that club. You know, I'm always meeting up with people, doing runs and things like that, and it's just become a wonderful place for me to be kind of you know, find camaraderie, I suppose, and you've got a support system in place. I think the other thing I wanted to highlight about being fit as well, this is rather depressing, by the way, is that after you reach the age of 40, adults can lose 3 to 5% of their muscle mass per decade. And if you look at some of the statistics as you get older, you know, older people, trips, falls, you wouldn't believe just how common an occurrence that sort of thing is. And actually there's some really good scientific background that basically says if you can keep your muscle mass there, then you'll be in much better shape for later in life as well. So it's not just about maybe social stuff, but it's also about keeping you fit and healthy for the future as well. So if you're not fit, where can you start, I think, is the $1 million question. Well, think about beginner programs. The NHS came up with this initiative called Couch to 5K, and it's a really well-designed running program that it starts you off walking, actually, and it takes you literally from the couch to being able to run a 5K. Lots of local running clubs that deliver Couch to 5K programs, so you can meet up with people at the running club. They'll take you through this program, and by the end of it, you'll be just much fitter. And it's not about being fast at running the 5K; it's just about being able to do it. Parkrun. I love Parkrun. What a brilliant thing. It's a free timed 5K run, walk, whatever you want to do. Run, walk or jog is what they say, that you can turn up to and just participate in. It takes place, there's one really local to me in the woods. In fact, I've got, I think, 3 or 4 within a 10-minute drive of me, which is just absolutely wonderful. But that's a great place to go. You know, feel free to go to Parkrun and just walk round. Then maybe the next week do a little bit of running. But it's a great thing as well. E-bikes, like I love e-bikes. I don't own one, I just hire them because I tend to be doing kind of downhill mountain biking on them and climbing up some really steep mountains. You know, people say to me, oh, e-bikes are cheating, Justin. No, they're not. They're absolutely not. They're a complete and utter leveller. If you've got different people of varying fitness, you put them on e-bikes, that it just levels the game. Everyone can keep up with everybody. You can go places that you just couldn't go on a normal mountain bike. I went and rode a really well-known mountain bike route called the Kentmere Ghost over in the Lake District. I am not capable. I don't have the skills to ride that ride on a normal, what I would call an analog bike. But on an e-bike, I can absolutely do it. You know, and you get a good workout off an e-bike. It's really, really good. Another great idea as well, paddleboarding. I love water sports. Love a bit of surfing as well. But paddleboarding, I think, is just a great way of having fun. It's super relaxed as well. Great for fitness, core strength in there. I mentioned before I've been across Buttermere on my paddleboard. I did that with a few friends. You know, what a lovely day out that was. There's loads of little courses going about. And I think you've got to have a bit of fun with your exercise and fitness. You know, do something that's really a bit different. You know, you don't have to do the same thing every single day. Find local groups. That would be another top tip if you're wanting to get fit. Think about running clubs, fantastic swimming clubs, cycling clubs. The local gyms have got stuff going on as well. I mean, there's even an arm wrestling club at my gym, not for me, but you know, it's still a social occasion for people, and they're building that sort of stuff into their fitness. Friend of mine, Gary, he runs a military based boot camp, but his business has almost turned into a real social outlet for people, where there's this wonderful group of people they've become friends over the years. So I think that's absolutely great. I think if you're thinking about things like open water swimming, outdoor swimming, you can find people who are organisations that will take you out and make sure that you're safe. They've got kayakers out on the water. They'll be able to hire you a wetsuit. I love open water swimming. I think it's one of the most brilliant releases that you'll ever have mentally, and there's a huge amount of research being done on open water swimming, in cold water in particular, about the kind of endorphin release, the noradrenaline, dopamine and serotonin kind of effects that you have. And there was a study actually in the British Medical Journal of a 24-year-old woman who was able to come off her depression medication as a result of it. But do that really sensibly and safely as well. What about rock climbing? Keen rock climber. I posted in the summer about that 3,000 meter mountain I climbed in the summer. But there's loads of great climbing walls out there that they've got loads of social stuff going on as well. They'll make sure you are, again, really, really super safe, and make sure you have a brilliant time doing it as well. Hill walking, mountaineering, there's groups out doing that as well. And even if you're like me and you fancy a bit of skiing, then go and do that as well. It's whatever you want to do, but there tends to be always kind of different groups and things like that. Let's talk a bit about racing though. Why did I start all of this about racing today? Well, I think racing is a way of setting goals, and I think that's really, really important. I think we all know about goal setting, don't we? Goal setting is a really, really important thing, and I find a big difference in my training is that if I haven't really got anything in the diary, I'm not really training very hard. And if you look at my training log for May, I mean, it was obscene the amount of training I did, because I had this huge event coming up, I had to do the training, and it meant that I was kind of doing it. So I think you can get involved in racing, and it doesn't matter if you're at the back. Honestly, it does not matter if you're at the back. I think people are like, oh, I'll do really badly. I've managed one podium ever, all of this training that I've done, and it was an age category podium. It's not about that. You can find some races that are brilliant fun. Like, let's say if you go to the gym and you're like lifting a few weights, there's an event called Hyrox. That's especially for people who do kind of gym work. It's like a competition, fantastic. One of the other things I did is I've done some orienteering competitions. What brilliant fun. They give you this little map, you get your compass, and off you go collecting in the points, and it's all a bit of a race. Everyone's running around doing stuff. I've done them with the kids. You'll find there'll be a local orienteering group, absolutely brilliant. Even in skiing, I went off, and in France I don't know whether I meant to pick it up. I was just trying to look for it, whether I'd found it. But I gained my flèche, which the flèche in France is the arrow. So I qualified to be able to ski race in France. There's various categories of it. I think I got my bronze. So I think it starts flèche, bronze, silver, gold. But I managed to do that. But what a brilliant way of doing it. Swimming events. That event that I did at the weekend was part of the Great North Swim. So that's a brilliant thing to do. Cycle sporties, cyclocross, all sorts of stuff is available to do it, I suppose. I think you can get involved in it, any form of sport at any time, and you can build up to it really, really slowly. But I think once you start kind of getting into it and starting to get a bit fitter, I think it's a really good idea to set a goal and set a race of some description. Maybe it's one of those obstacle course type races. They can be tremendous fun. I've done one or two of those in my time. Do something for charity, run, walks, anything you want to do. But I think one of the key things, if you're going to go and do it, is you need encouragement, you need support, and local clubs will give that to you. And I think they're great support networks, and they're great places to go. And I think also not every club is the same. Some clubs are into like serious competing, whereas other clubs are about just having a good time, and that's the club that I'm part of. It's just about having a bit of fun. We never win anything. At the end of the day, no one in the club ever really wins anything. We might pick up some age group stuff, but I tell you what, we are the loudest club. We are the most visible club because we're just having a laugh and we're having a good time. So I think you've got to stop thinking about fitness as that thing that you've got to do, and make it part of your life and make it part of you, and find those friends who can support you in doing it, and try all this different stuff that's out there that's amazing in our modern world, different kind of types of things, whatever it happens to be, but go get yourself fit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.